What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about if Resident Evil Outrage will be announced at E3 2021. So a couple of you guys I saw in the comments had asked me to talk about this, and I also, we're going to do a double feature here. This is very much on the spot. We'll talk about Outrage, but I also want to talk about Resident Evil Village DLC or a season pass or something. Will either of those be announced at E3 2021? Because Capcom is going, so let's go over what we know. Capcom's going. That's it. That's the end of what we know. We don't know the date that they're gonna announce things. We don't know the time, which really upsets me. I really wish these companies would very soon let us know, so at least people, especially people like me, I want to cover this for a lot of people. I want to know when these things are going to happen. That's just kind of a side temper tantrum basically I can throw here, but honestly I think the odds of one or the other of these two things is very possible. The only thing that I guess holds it back is obviously Village has just come out. Now, it's been a little while since, in my time, it's been like 5 years since Village has come out. I get for the general population, it's honestly only been just a few weeks that Village is out. So people are still playing it. Some people maybe still haven't played it, right? And they're going into it. So I guess the biggest thing is, would you announce, well, if you're doing Outrage, so Outrage, remember, rumor is like a Revelations 3. If not, it is Revelations 3. Okay, it's something in that spectrum. It may be a Switch exclusive, okay? At least maybe a timed exclusive for the fall. Now, what's interesting is Capcom's going, but so's Nintendo. Now, they're going separate. And again, like, we don't know partnerships. Does Capcom show up at Nintendo's presentation? Like, what exactly happens? We don't really know. But is it possible that because both are going, that increases the likelihood of something like Outrage being announced? Definitely possible. And again, can you do DLC for Village? Well, we've talked about different ideas for DLC, and in those videos for DLC for Resident Evil Village, I've always kind of assumed, I've always told you guys, I've always assumed it's just going to happen. I really believe they'll do it. They did it for 7. I think it worked really well. I think people generally liked it. I think you have more stories to tell that, obviously you can do it in 9, and you can do it in other games, but you also have smaller stories that you could, I mean, again, like we've gone over, do you do Chris? Could you do Chris at the end of the game? Could you do Chris during the game, kind of doing that alternate perspective thing? What was Chris doing that entire time? Could you do something with Mia? Could you do something with Rose? Could you do something with Ada Wong, right? Ada Wong was my first idea, and if that happens, I'd like to claim credit of it because I thought that idea up like the day that it was announced that she was cut from the base game. I came up with the idea that she could possibly be DLC. So there's definitely opportunities, right? I don't want to oversay too much stuff that we've already said. I think the odds are high, though, that one of these games is going to be announced. Again, the biggest thing is between Resident Evil Village and then when E3 happens is only around like a month, slightly more than a month. So the question is, would you want to announce the next Resident Evil game so soon? Well, the answer to that is, historically, they don't actually mind. Now, do they announce the next Resident Evil a day after the game before it comes, happens? No, they don't do that, right? They wait a little bit. But with their strategy that we've talked about, right? They want to do at least one RE game every year. But things can change. Resident Evil 4 actually is going to be the first one that very possibly will push it, right? Where Resident Evil 4's remake was supposed to be after Outrage. That would be, but maybe that game has been delayed even further because of swapping studios that are making it. But the general idea is they want a game out every single year. And again, historically, 2's remake, 3's remake into Village, they try. And obviously Village's announcement, I think, was pushed because of stuff that happened around the world. But they normally try to announce them relatively soon after. And the thing again that, look, if Outrage is real, and which I do believe it because there was that data breach, these are like internal Capcom files, like there is a game under the codename Resident Evil Outrage, and Capcom did want that game out in the fall, like late fall 2021, like this year, okay? That was their plan. So that was all real. Now, does that get pushed because of, again, the stuff, and a lot of games have been delayed? Definitely possible. But I think the idea of announcing a game quicker is kind of elevated in this sense, right? Because you have a game coming potentially in around 4 months. Now, yeah, you just had a game, and you could say, well, is it a good idea to have 2 Resident Evil games come out not only in the same year, but like 5 months apart? Maybe, maybe not. I honestly feel like if it's a Switch exclusive, it's going to work no matter what. It could be absolute garbage, and it'll still sell very, very well, and it'll still do extremely well. So I think they know what they're doing. And so, yeah, I really actually can't imagine we go through... Now, maybe I'll stretch it. I can't imagine we would go through maybe the summer without hearing about Outrage. Even if Outrage was delayed till, say, next year, like mid-next year, I still think you hear about it relatively soon. One thing's for sure, they don't announce... they don't skip the game. So like they weren't going to announce Outrage before 8 came out or before Village came out. In the same way that 4's remake is all but confirmed, right? We know about it, but they won't officially say anything until the next Resident Evil game is out. Not announced, is out. You know what I mean? So they play it very one game at a time, like, even though we kind of know up to like what? I think we know 4 upcoming Resident Evil games. But they're going to pretend like we don't know that until just individually they come out, okay? So that's important to know. But I would say the odds of that are very high. And then again, Village's DLC, I mean... Well, I wonder almost if now like different teams are making this, so it's not like the team that's making Outrage is making the DLC for Village. But I wonder if they get in the way of each other. So like, do you do DLC for Village while also releasing a time Switch exclusive? The answer to that is very opinionated, right? I would say that's probably not a smart idea, but I don't think it would like crush either of them. Maybe it would actually be super successful, but I would say generally, maybe you shouldn't do that, but that doesn't mean that they will or they won't. So, that's definitely for you guys to let me know in the comments. But I do think, like, removed from everything, I do think DLC is coming for Village. It just is, do you announce it right away, and then when does it come out? Maybe it's fast. Maybe they're so far ahead, very possible, doesn't have to be true, but maybe they're so far ahead they announce DLC and it can come out late summer. It can come out August or September, and then Outrage could come out in November. Another thing too to remember is Reverse. I keep forgetting about the game. I know some people that follow me keep forgetting about the game, and that's okay. But Reverse, the multiplayer for Village, right? Obviously that was supposed to come out same day. It was delayed till this summer. So you have to with Resident Evil, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on over the last 4 years. There's a lot going to go on over the next, 5. They're going to have, a decade full of just, we're going to look back at this as, the decade of Resident Evil. And it's going to be kind of cool, honestly. I actually don't mind it whatsoever. I actually kind of prefer it. And one final thing I'll say is, this is a Resident Evil video, but I think it would be, not fair to say, Capcom is more than just Resident Evil. So I'm not saying that, because they're going to E3, they have to show Resident Evil because it's all they have. No, they do have other stuff. It's just, Village is fresh in people's minds. That's perfect for DLC. I would say if there's any time to ever announce DLC for a game, it would be in this window, because if you do it in, August or September, it's far enough removed where it's not going to make as big of an impact. And I guess that's just my personal opinion of how people's brains work and how people move on. I just feel like it would be better the closer to Village that is. But, again, they don't have to do the DLC. I would say, though, I would be shocked. And I honestly think a lot of you, from what I've seen in specifically comments of my own videos, and I'm sure I don't speak for everybody. The comments don't speak for every single person on the earth. But I would personally be very shocked if we get through E3. E3 comes and goes. Capcom's there. We know that. They do their announcements. I'd be shocked if they didn't announce anything Resident Evil. I feel like DLC or Outrage is all but guaranteed. It's just both, maybe, possibly. I think it would actually make the most sense to do both, but maybe they only choose one or the other. You know what I mean? So let me know, guys, in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think we get one? Do you think we get both of them? Do you think we get neither of them at E3? Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, all that good stuff. You guys got me to 50K. I super appreciate it. Let's keep going. You guys want to follow me over on Twitter? Podcast Now 15 is my Twitter handle. Link for that is in the description below, or obviously you can just look me up on Twitter. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.